Hey, welcome everyone to a new route building series. This one is involving a Milwaukee road layout that I purchased. As of this recording, it was purchased last weekend, and I've already done one test drive on it. It's really well done, and I encourage you to look into getting this. It cost me about $20, about $19 or so on site. I had to make sure that I had on the website. They give you all the Trainz routes that you should have in your possession to make sure that you get everything to work. The only thing I'm missing is Midwestern rails, and I'm kind of curious because at least in this version, I've been deleting out what looks like track work, and I'm wondering if it's an asset that's missing that's coming from that Midwestern rail or something like that. I was trying to see if I could find an example of what I'm talking about. But anyway, it causes a lot of problems because it acts like track work when you're trying to put trains on the track. So I've been systematically trying to get rid of it. I don't know if I'm going to pay for that. What I did before I started, I took the original layout, and of course, if you save it and rename it, basically, you can make it so that you unlock the route, and it makes it so that you can make edits to it. So here's the original name, and then I've just added a date stamp on it to make it so that this is the version I'm working on. What we're doing in these episodes, this route will not be made available. I will not make this available because it's not my route to share. But you can certainly watch what I do to the route to get it up to speed for our purposes on the YouTube channel. And there are things to learn with scenery building. And I'm happy to share that information with you. And then just enjoy the layout. What we're going to be doing, this is all modeled in the 1970s. So we are going to bring it back to the 1950s. And I have been doing a bunch of studying on the Milwaukee Road because we need a spot where we get our trains after they leave Avery and have had the electrified or the electric locomotives removed. There's got to be a place where they swap out the steam locomotive or the diesels and put the electric locomotives back on the train. And from what my research has shown, and feel free to correct me in the comments, but it looks like Othello, Washington was where they did that. And Othello is, if we're looking basically west, it's behind us. It's east of us. And it's not modeled in this layout. This is Beverly. This is where this layout picks up. And so we have a dilemma because on the Utah and Rocky Mountain Railroad, I'm running diesels. There's no electrification. And I'm going to put a portal on that layout to allow trains to jump to this layout. And we need a place to swap out those diesels and steam locomotives for the electric. So I'm going to do a slight modification to Beverly so that we can facilitate that operation. And I may put that operation down here in the area where the catenary starts on this layout. So I may put something down here. And the reason I'm doing that is because as we get to the end of the layout, this is where the eye portal, and I'm going to put a regular portal on here, will sit. And so this is where you would come onto the layout after jumping from the Utah and Rocky Mountain. And so we'll have some sort of facility here to facilitate the locomotive swaps. When we get a route in Trainz that models Othello to Beverly, that's when we can, it'll be real easy, since I've put everything down here, it'll be real easy to just remove those scenery items from the layout and restore this so that this is all basically electrical catenary up here. Now, with that said, this is where the catenary starts, and one of the first things we need to do, based on my initial test run, there are areas where the catenary is broken. It's not there. The poles may be there, but the catenary, the actual running wire that the locomotives use, is missing in some places. So one of the first things we're going to do to bring this back to the 1950s, we're going to fix the catenary so that it's a run all the way to the other side of this layout. As you can see, I was able to find a bipolar. So we actually have a bipolar on the layout. I was test driving the Olympian train. That's what this is here. And what's sad is that when we model that train and it's running through Beverly, it's all going to be in the dark. But when you look at the scenery, and I've also looked at videos on YouTube where the individual is following the abandoned right-of-way, and there's no tracks anymore. It's just grades out in the land and abandoned towns and whatnot. When you follow that, there's nothing out here at all. That's where I was going with that. And so it's probably good that people didn't pass through this area until the nighttime. Here's the famous Beverly Bridge. They did a nice job on that. It actually looks like that. And I have to do some research to find out where this goes here. I know that the pictures I've seen, it always looks like the track just curves to the right, and it doesn't look like this trackage is around. It's hard to tell because in 1980, when they abandoned the Milwaukee road, they ripped up all the track. And of course, the catenary went down in 1974. That was when they abandoned the electrified portion, and all that catenary was pulled down and it was sold for scrap. It was worth that much to them to do that. The other thing that is interesting on this layout, if you live in the Washington State area, this will be interesting to you, because on I-90, there is a spot after you cross the Columbia River. Let's see if we can find it. There is a bridge. There's an abandoned bridge. Let's see if I can find it. That's the other end of the layout. We're too far up. Is this it? It does say. I think it's up this way. Where we are here, this is all all that's left of this little area, there's foundations in the ground for the bungalows and the power station. And they originally had this electrified all the way up to Seattle and Tacoma. And let me see if I can find this bridge. I want to show you this bridge. It's pretty cool because in real life, you can actually drive up I-90 and you'll go right under this bridge. It's out in the middle of nowhere, no track connecting it. And until I took an interest in the Milwaukee Road, I didn't know that that was this bridge. This area here today is I think it's a Yakima training center or training lands or area. They do live ammo training here. So if you're going through the trail that exists, you have to stick to the trail, and you have to register at the trail ends so that the military knows you're going along the trail, so you don't accidentally get blown up by ordnance. Nice. Okay, and here's the bridge, and he is actually modeling in here I-90. Well, in 1950, I-90 did not exist. So this is actually going to be brought backwards, and we're going to remove this highway here so that and make it look like it did in the 40s and 50s. But this is the bridge I'm talking about. When you're coming up I-90, you actually go under this bridge. So this bridge still exists. It's blocked off so you can't go across it. And then, of course, the approach track is missing. But you can, when you look at it, you can actually see the supports on the bridge where it held up the poles for the catenary wire. So it's pretty cool. So this layout goes to Katitas, which is on the other side of the layout. It's right here. And if we kept going in this direction, we would continue on our trek to Seattle and Tacoma. And this area here, there's another town. I think it's called Ellensburg, if I'm correct. I'll find out and I'll put it in the comments or the description. But this is where this layout ends. So this is basically the end of the line for us. I am toying with building a route that will cover the Seattle-Tacoma area and get us to where this layout leaves off. And I've got to learn how to use Trainz in order to do that. I probably will make an series out of that, so you can watch me struggle with learning Trainz and getting it to work. And but that would give us the some missing pieces here, and the area is vast, and there's nothing out here, and so we're going to have to be. It may take a couple of modules, I guess is where I'm going with that, to get the route, the Milwaukee Road, to this layout. And then once I get that hooked up, I'll make that available since it's my route. I'll make it available in the DLS. I encourage the community to jump in on this, and let's start building modules of the Milwaukee Road so that we... through the use of iPortals, you could literally drive the entire route, jumping from layout to layout, so we don't have to worry about merging layouts and things of that nature. But with that all said, in our episode today, what I want to focus on is getting the catenary cleaned up. So once we have that done, then we'll start looking at what can we do. I think the next step will be to put an iPortal and a portal on this layout. We'll put a portal on the other side so that we can generate traffic on the layout while you're working with it. And of course, the iPortal gives you the ability to jump to another layout. So that's why you want that. And so we'll get the catenary first, then we'll come back over here and we'll build a facility to handle the swapping of locomotives. And then we'll work on doing whatever is needed to get things to make it so you believe it's the 1950s. And that may be as simple as just putting traffic on the roads that's based off of 1950s cars and transportation. This layout I expect it to be fairly easy to make it believable that it's 1950s. It's really not going to take that much work to get this layout to where we can use it for our series on this channel. And I want to thank the creator. They did a beautiful job on this layout. And I'm going to leave it as much intact as I possibly can. So with that said, we're just going to go through and make sure that everything has catenary. It looks like Beverly is pretty good. I did a little bit of fixing in Beverly because there were some missing pieces. And what I've learned with the catenary and Trainz, and I think this is why it was missing, there are catenary poles that they're on splines, and when you drag them out, you'll see the catenary wire already hooked up. And then there's poles where there is no, like these spanners here, there is no catenary, but there is, if you look in Toomey's collection of catenary wires and things that he used on the Avery Drexel layout. That's all. If you have that layout, you'll have all these scenery items. And there are catenaries that don't have any poles attached, and that's what you use to transition from a pole that is producing the catenary into areas like this where you're spanning tracks and you just need the wire to be visible. So we're looking for stuff like that. In this layout, I think everything was here until we got to the bridge. And that was where we started to have problems. And you'll see that we seem to have we have double catenary. That's what I'm looking at. I think if I take this out, okay, we must be in the middle. So let's I'm looking for... Okay, well, we got that to fix. I don't know what I did to fix it. Okay. All right, well, good. I like that. And as we go down, we can see that there's catenary. The catenary is very hard to see, but it is there. Nice. All right, so we got catenary going up here like this. We got catenary there. Okay, so now you'll see one that we need to fix. Here's where the catenary is ending, and we need something to bring it over here. So there's a little piece. You'll see there, here's one section of it. Here's the other section of it. Okay, so here's one piece. Let's get this. Oh, wait. Get this over here. Okay, I don't like that. That did it. There we go. What's interesting is that the state of Washington, when the Milwaukee road went out of business, they bought up all the right of way. There we go. And what they've been doing is making it a trail, so you could actually walk the right of way. And what's interesting is a lot of the bridges and a lot of the tunnels are still in existence. But you can see from the scenery that it's not going to take much to make this a 1950s layout. It's mostly just making sure the Canton area is all in place, and where you do see roads, that they have 1950s style automobiles and trucks driving on them. And any parked vehicles, of course, would reflect the 1950s. So it's not going to be too bad. And I can tell you that this part of Washington actually looks like this. Nice. Okay, he's got the Canton area there. I think where I saw a lot of the break in the Canton area was when we got up towards Katitas. Katinas. I can't pronounce it. I think this layout goes for about 25 miles. Here's the only tunnel on the route. You can actually still go into this tunnel. They do have it blocked off because when you get to the other side, you'll see that there's areas where the roof of the tunnel has collapsed, and that's why they don't want people going through the tunnels. though they haven't done a good job of blocking it. I just saying. But there's a detour around the tunnel that's approved by the military, so you don't have to worry about um, the artillery training that's being done in the area. Yeah, I don't know. There may be a reason why he didn't extend the Canton area over this bridge. We're going to find out. Let's go up one. Now let's go over here. Okay, there's that. There's that. There's that. That gets that straight. Well, there you go. There you go. Excelente. All right. So now we can go on our quest. This area is known as the Palouse area since there's just nothing out here. It's there nowadays. There's some windmills up here. When you come around to go under those bridges, you'll see some windmills. You're starting to see life on the layout, farmland. Okay, we got the track there. Okay. Let's go off and see what's going on here. So he's got this all here. This looks like a Y, so you can turn things around. That's going there. We've got track going like that. That's got catenary. This has got catenary. This has got catenary. Very good. Yeah, I'm happy with this purchase. This will be fun to run this layout. Okay, here's this. And then this is all covered. It goes down like that. And then this takes us to the end of the layout. And as I said, we'll put a regular portal and a iPortal on this end in anticipation of future expansion of this route. So there you have it. We've got the whole thing. So why don't we put a train on here? We got 17 minutes left. So let's go ahead. Let's see. Let us see. And let's turn this into driver. There we go. And this is the best way I've found to make sure we caught all the catenary problems. Katitas. Coming into Katitas. That's the depot. Nice. I don't know if you knew you could do this in trains. I just learned this. That I used to try to salvage things by duplicating the cars, but it turns out you don't need to do that. Nice. The reason I stopped, I wanted to get. I don't like when the track disappears. There, that's what I wanted to fix. I don't like when the track is covered like that. That's just me, though. It's there. I think I got those. Okay, so my system froze up, so I had to reboot. And we're entering the final minutes of this episode anyway. And so, what we'll do on the next episode, we'll finish this test drive, and then we'll move over to the Beverly and put in the facilities to swap the locomotives. And we'll also add the portal and iPortal to the layout. If you like this type of content, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Subscription is free, and it helps to make sure that this type of content will remain on YouTube. You can help us to grow our audience by liking the episode. And of course, please leave your comments and suggestions. I do review them and I will respond. If you'd like to be notified when the next episode becomes available, please hit the bell and make your choices from the menu that appears. And with that, we'll wind up this episode. I'll allow you to watch a little bit more of the test drive. But with that, we'll see you on the next one.